This is how you do a mid-taper. First, of course, you want to start off with your bald guideline. In this case, I'm using my high-vis wall trimmer to get it as close as possible. Can't forget the facial hair, of course, those little stragglies. I went in with my wall vanish to bald it out. Clipper all the way open to set in your first guideline. And then clipper completely closed to just tap that line all the way out. You can move your lever down slightly as you go higher and higher. Now I went with my number 1 guard all the way closed to set in my second initial guideline. I went in to make this line more prominent. And I went completely open to set in another line, so therefore I would have 2 initial guidelines that I have to take out. And then I threw on my 1.5 guard all the way open to set in a third visual guideline. I like to work down from the top down. Then I threw on my 1 guard all the way open again and just went underneath that 1.5 guard to just soften it up. I like to soften lines out. I don't really like to bluntly jump into them and take them out unless it's the first bald guideline. Now I threw on my half guard all the way closed and I was just tapping that first guideline that I had created from the very beginning and just lever played. And I went ahead and just started to do the C cup to make sure it was real nice and a mid taper on how he asked. Some people will say it's high, but this is mid in my opinion. Real crispy, no enhancements right there on the C cup. I threw that 1.5 guard back on just to detail it a little more and just soften up the fade more. Now on the back, of course, I went in with my first bald guideline with my wall high vis trimmer. Don't forget to get all the neck hairs. Now I went ahead and threw on my 1.5 guard all the way closed because his growth pattern in the back, it kind of grows outward. So I didn't want to go in with my clipper open. I threw on the 1.5 to be safe. And I just opened the lever all the way with the 1.5 still on. And I just went ahead and went with the number 1 guard open to soften that 1.5 guard that I just created. Still a 1 open. As you could see, his hair growth pattern, it kind of grows outward. With my wall magic clip, I went with the clipper all the way open to create my first initial guideline. Make sure it's real even. Then I closed it all the way and I just started to tap that bottom line all the way out to make sure to just knock out the bald guideline out the way first. It's usually the hardest guideline to take out. In that case, I like to attack it early so that way I don't have to deal with it later on. Here I went ahead and went with the half guard, but it's a JRL half guard, so it's a little bit bigger than the wall. And I went all the way closed to just create another guideline. Make sure I was getting that growth pattern. And I just went open with the same half guard and just started flicking that line under the 1.5 or 1 that I created. This is still a half guard all the way open. Again, it's a bigger half guard. Now I went with that wall half guard. It's way smaller and it gets a whole lot closer, and I just started to detail the very bottom of the fade. I was still seeing some dark spots on the top, and I'll get to that in a second. So I went ahead and just went shear over comb, and this is a thinning shears in that case to just soften that harsh spot out up top. And it was still there, so I just put on my number 2 guard all the way closed, and I started to debulk it more. And to soften it all the way, I went ahead and went with my 1.5 guard halfway and then all the way closed to just soften it out fully. And then I went back with my 1 guard all the way closed down to all the way open, just lever playing. Here I decided to remove some bulk on the side of the ear so that way when I line up his neck area it looks real nice and there's no straggles or overhang. Make sure you don't miss. Connected the two. And you know the drill. Just like the other side, go on with your bald guideline, shaver, clipper all the way open. Clipper all the way closed to knock out that bottom guideline. I went with my half guard all the way closed. And then just half guard all the way open to go a little bit above that. Number 1 guard closed to soften that line up. Then of course number 1 guard all the way open to go a little bit higher to just soften things out. I threw the number 1.5 on again because I was still seeing some dark spots before I went in with my half guard to detail the fade fully. Clipper all the way closed to just detail before I add in my C cup. Real sharp again, no enhancements to give it that ghost shadow. And here I was just detailing the other side. I forgot to put in my neckline on the other side. I went ahead and put that in. I started saturating his hair and wetting it and just combing out all the knots. And I decided to hit it with the diffuser because he was wanting his natural curls to pop. This is no product at all. Made sure to clean up his facial hair, a little pencil stash, lined it up under the lip, razored his eyebrows to clean excessive hair. And this is the after. Let me know what you think. Mid-taper.